classroom and getting a job so that you hit the ground running from the very first day. And some of the strategies we have put in place to achieve this includes number one, CV review sessions. Now, this is where you stand out from the competition with a tailored CV that highlights your skills and achievements. Number two, LinkedIn optimization that will help you optimize your profile, ensuring that it reflects your newly acquired skills and attracts the biggest and the best organizations. Number three is Upwork optimization, depending on your personal career goals. For those interested in free.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. If you can hear me and I'm audible, just type in a yes into the chat. So I know you can all hear me. Type in a yes into the chat. Fantastic. Brilliant. Good to have you all join us today. I can see some questions coming in already. Don't worry, Mayor Plus would have a Q&A section at the end of before we wrap up our session today, all right? So you're asking to tech Python in your data analytics program. I'm not sure. I think you're trying to ask if you have to learn Python. So you learn Python in the data science program, okay? And I'm going to walk you through all of that. And that's the reason why we are here today, all right? Before we get started and we dive into the main meat of our session, I'd like to know where you are joining us from, okay? So just type where you're joining from into the charts. For example, I'm joining from Alberta, Canada. Okay, so type your location. Let's know where you're joining us from. Gabriel from South Africa, Josh, Isaac from Ghana, Lagos, Nigeria. Fantastic. Brilliant. Nottingham, London, UK, Nigeria, UK, Port Harcourt, Lagos. Brilliant. And that's the amazing, stuff of having people joining from so many locations when you have a virtual session like this. We're going to dive into the main meat of why we are here today. And that's simply, how do you move from a non-tech career path into a tech-related role? And that's why we are here today. I'm going to share my own experience with you, and I would also guide you on what you need to do to make that transition. Because a lot of people make mistakes and they really don't know what to do and how to get started. But that's the reason why we are here, and to get all those questions answered. So let's dive right into the session. Tayo from Osogbo, Osun State. Good to have you with us, Tayo. Let's dive into the main meat of the reason why we are here today. So how can you transition or move from a non-tech career background to tech by mastering high demand tech skills? And I'll be sharing that with you. And our session would cut across three major areas today. The first one is we'd look at how and why you need to get into tech. And we'd look at the different career paths that would help you land the job the fastest. There are so many career paths in the tech ecosystem, but which of these career paths would help you land the job the fastest? That's the focus for us because tech is very broad. Okay, so that's the first thing we'll do. Then we'd move into understanding these different career paths, and I would also introduce you to our upcoming cohorts starting on the 8th of June. All right, our upcoming cohorts starting on the 8th of June, and how you can also participate and take advantage of joining that cohort with the amazing discounts we have available for you guys who'll be joining in the month of June. Who are we at Tenalytics and what are we all about? We are the leading educational technology company, and the focus for us is on ensuring that we provide the best-in-class technology skills and also delivering optimum services to our clients. And over the last 4 years, we've been able to help over 2,000 people that look like me, Africans in the diaspora, Africans in Africa, to get jobs and transition into the tech ecosystem across the different economies, and from the UK to the US to Canada, and also in Africa, and so on and so forth. And the way we do this is by providing you with not just the technical skills, but also the employability skills. And I would highlight how important that is today. Different areas from data analytics to data science to data engineering, business analysis, cybersecurity, and so on and so forth. And when it comes to the subject matter experts, we bring the best in the business, the best across the major organizations across the globe to work with you, share experience with you, and also build your capacity to make that transition into the tech ecosystem as well. Now, for those of you who haven't met me before, my name is Adeza Suleiman. I'm a technology expert, and my experience cuts across data analytics and management consulting. I have close to a decade years of experience across different sectors, from energy to sports, to educational technology, to financial services, and automobile. I'm the founder of Tenalytics, and I've helped over 2,000 people using Tenalytics as a platform to land their very first jobs in tech, moving them from the classroom after learning the skills to getting the job done right on the field. My experience spans data science consulting in the UK and in the US. I've also worked as a data analyst in the business performance unit of Sahara Power Group. I've worked as a data analytics consultant with FITC. FITC is owned by the Central Bank of Nigeria and also the NDIC and all the commercial deposit money banks as well. I've worked in sports, like I said, and so many other sectors. I currently reside in Alberta, Canada. And personally, I've trained well over 8,500 people. And I'm super excited to be here with you to share my wealth of experience and also how you can take concerted steps to make that transition yourself. Over the years, we've been featured across major publications because of the work that we've done within the space. For example, the Business Day highlighting how we have helped Africans land jobs across 4 continents. We also have hackathons we organize from time to time, and this is Nairametrics also highlighting that. And of course, we had an interview, myself and the co-founder of Tenalytics, where we talked about how Nigeria as a country can also leverage data to take data-driven decisions, and so many other publications. This with the PR Fire, one of the largest publications in Europe, highlighting reiterating Tenalytics' commitments to helping Africans land tech jobs across Europe. Now, the focus for us has been to get more people that look like me into tech career path across the globe. Now, having worked in so many organizations, one of the first things you get to realize, especially within the tech ecosystem, is dominated by one specific ethnic group. All right. So the question is, where are the Africans? Where are the Nigerians? Where are the Ghanaians? Where are the South Africans? And so on and so forth. Where are they and why are we not applying to these jobs? And the reason is very simple. There are lots of misconceptions, and a lot of people also think it's difficult and impossible to get these jobs. And I'll be sharing with you how we have helped over 2,000 people and how we can also help you and what you need to do if you're ever going to get a job within the tech ecosystem across the major economies in the US, the UK, Canada, across Europe, and of course, also in Africa. Now, when it comes to the tech industry, there are so many career paths to follow and so many career paths to take. The difficult step is identifying that career path that will get you the job the fastest. So what we've done at Tenalytics is to do our own analysis and also do a lot of research to find out where the opportunities would be, because tech is very broad. And if I ask today, what do you want to do? I'm sure I'll get 1,001 responses from you in terms of the career path you'd like to move into. So what you need to do before you decide on a particular career path to follow, number one, you must know the career path that are high in demand. You don't want to get into, you are currently a banker, you're currently a customer service professional, or you do something else. You're in logistics, you are in nursing, you are in the health sector, you are a carer. You don't want to get into a career path today just to find out that tomorrow your skills are no longer in demand. So how do you ensure that you find a career path that is high in demand? That's the first question you need to answer. The second question is you must know exactly what the role entails. So you decide today that you want to transition into data science. What does data science entail? That's a question you have to answer, right? And we would answer some of those questions here today. So tech is very broad. So what we've done at Tenalytics, we did two things. The first one was to do our own internal analysis. That's the first thing we did. We scraped data from the major job boards, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Total Jobs, Reed.co.uk, CV Library, the jobbank.gc.ca. We gathered data from all these websites and we analyzed to see the jobs that are high in demand from recruiters and potential employers. That was the first thing we did. And the second thing we did was to do what? Validate our analysis using reports that are already out there by reputable organizations. And the organization we looked at was the World Economic Forum. And I always highlight this. If you're ever going to transition, you want to know that your job is in high demand. If I get the job today, I'll still be in job in the next 10 years, and my job will still be in high demand in the next 10 years. When I started my own journey, my first degree is in industrial chemistry. I did not study anything related to tech. In fact, my first job was also in management consulting, nothing related to tech. But I made the transition because I could see where the world was going. The world was going towards the way of data. So how do I key into that ecosystem? So I started to learn the skills. And so many of you would also start your journey that way. Just the same way we have helped so many other people start their journey. But 10 years ago, data was the in thing. Today, data is still the in thing because the rate, the velocity, the veracity at which we generate data, the volume of data that we generate on a day-to-day basis is unprecedented. 90% of the data that exists today was generated in the last 5 to 10 years, in the last 5 to 6 years, I beg your pardon. So this means that organizations are looking for people that have the skills to help them manage that data, analyze the data, and make sense of what the data, stands. Because data is simply like the crude oil you extract from the ground. It is useless. You can't use it for anything until you refine the crude oil, you get jet fuel, you get kerosene, you get petrol, and so on and so forth. All right. So now looking at the World Economic Forum, we needed to identify where will the jobs be, especially in the tech ecosystem. And I'll highlight this. I've kept the link for you. For those of you who would want to go through this, you would have the opportunity to do that. All right. So at the left-hand side, you have the jobs that will grow in demand. And at the right-hand side, you have the jobs that will decline in demand. And this is the reason why you have to be very careful when transitioning. And for those of you that joined my Instagram live session, I talked about a career path that is very popular today. But in the next 5 years, that career path will start to decline in demand. And that's what? Product management. So if you're a product manager, you are in product management, or you are thinking of getting into product management, you need to start to think again. All right? Because according to the World Economic Forum, so the question is, who is the World Economic Forum? Who are they for us to even listen to them? So you have the World Economic Forum comprises of the world's leaders, the politicians, the top politicians, the influencers, the billionaires, the captains of industries. They all converge every January to set the track and to also set the trajectory of where the economy would go. And they decide on where these job opportunities would lie. And number one is AI and machine learning. It's a no-brainer. You'd see that, and you'd see that from the trend today. Everybody's talking about large language models, ChatGPT, Bard, Google Copilots. You have Gemini, and so you have Llama from Meta and the rest. You have Meta AI. If you have Instagram, you'd see the AI equivalent of ChatGPT today. That's where the world is going. All right. So if you find yourself in any career path that is AI or machine learning related, you know that you can't go wrong being in that space. The second area you want to look at is business intelligence analyst. And these are the jobs that would grow. They are currently in demand and they would also grow in the next 5 to 10 years. As a business intelligence analyst, this is simply a derivative of data analytics. So as a data analytics professional, you can apply to a job as a business intelligence analyst. BI analyst is a derivative of data analytics. All right. You'd also see information security analyst. And when you talk about information security, what is that all about? You look at career path like cyber security. All right, cyber security. And these are the career paths. You see them at the top end of the jobs that are growing and the jobs that will grow in demand in the next 5 to 10 years. You have the data analyst and the data scientist clearly written. Data analyst and the data scientist. If you go down a little bit further, you'd see the data engineers, the data analysts, the data scientists, the data engineers. So when you look at AI machine learning, you look at business intelligence, you look at information security, you look at data analysts, data science, you look at data engineers. These are all data related. And you would ask the question, as a cybersecurity analyst, how do you get to work with data? You will be the one protecting the data of that organization from external threats and internal threats as well. So you get to work with data, okay? And we can move, you have the database architects. And if we go to the next page, you have the project managers. As a project manager, your job is going to grow in demand. But I want to give a caveat here. Not all project management roles. So you need to be very careful. The project manager role in the tech ecosystem. And who are the project managers that work in the tech ecosystem that manage tech-related products? These are your Scrum Masters. So as a Scrum Master, you largely work in the tech ecosystem because you are managing and building products that are tech-related and also leverage the Agile methodology. General project management does not cut it. You need to find a niche for yourself within project management. So as a Scrum Master, you can rest assured that your job would grow in demand. You also have the financial analysts. These are professionals that analyze financial data in an organization. So you see that a lot of the roles that are growing in demand are roles that are tilted towards the way of data. So it's very, very important that you know this. So you don't want to transition into a role like the accountants and auditors. If you're an accountant or an auditor on this call, just type in a 1 into the chat. Type 1 into the chat. If you're an accountant or you're an auditor, type a number 1 into the chat. Don't worry, don't be shy, don't be scared that you're an accountant or an auditor. Okay, Comfort, Sam, Taiwo, Blessing, Glory. Now, your job is at risk. Okay, your job is at risk of losing relevance. And I'll explain very simply. As an accountant or an auditor, a lot of the things you do today can be fully automated. A lot of the things you do today goes beyond just looking and balancing the statements. You have to give additional value. You have to be able to tell the company what to do based on what has happened in the last few months. So you want to add something to your accounting skills. And this is where transitioning becomes very important. So you would ask the question, as an accountant, the World Economic Forum is saying that my job is at risk of losing its relevance in the next 5 to 10 years. How do I stay relevant? This is where you have to upskill to add more skills to what you already do. So as an accountant or an auditor, you add what? Data analytics skills to your accounting, and this gives you a new career path, like a financial analyst career path, a commercial analyst career path, or even a financial planning and analytics professional career path. So you must add something to your skills. And this is why it's important that you know where the world is going before you decide to transition and get a job. And of course, when you look at all these career paths that I've highlighted, we've also done the analysis. We came up with 8 different career paths, and we validated it with this World Economic Forum report. And anybody can go to the report. If you click on this link, it takes you to the reports, and this particular page is on page 30. And you would all have access to this at the end of today's session. So it's very, very important that you take note of this. So now that we know where the jobs are, we know where the demand is, where the jobs would be, and the jobs that would grow in demand, the jobs that will decline in demand, we also know that in the next 5 years, all right, by 2030, there'll be a global shortage of tech talent across the globe in the tune of over 85 million roles. Now, the question is, who would fill these roles? And people always wonder, are these jobs actually available? And I'll give you an example from the UK. In the UK, for example, every year, you have 30,000 roles available in the data ecosystem alone. The university, the immigrants, and so on and so forth can only account for just 10,000 out of the 30,000 jobs available. So you have a shortage every year of over 20,000 roles that are left unfilled. And the reason why they can't fill these roles is simply because people are not applying to these jobs, and people don't have the right skills and qualities to get the job. So how do you compete to get these jobs that are always left unfilled every single year, year in, year out, taking the UK as an example? And globally, in the next 5 years, you would have a global shortage in the tech ecosystem of over 85 million roles. Who would fill those roles? That's the question you need to ask yourself. And this is why whenever I get the opportunity to speak, I always tell people that, look, the tech ecosystem is a skill-based ecosystem. I never learned anything tech. First degree, like I said earlier, was in industrial chemistry, but I've done data analytics, data science for the last 10 years of my career. How can you also do the same? And I'll share practical steps, very practical. Today's session is going to be very practical on what you need to do and how you must also do it. And then I'll chip in how Tenalytics can help you get there, so that when you're applying to these jobs that are available across your region, you are in Canada, you are a new immigrant, you are trying to get a job, you are currently working in the warehouse, you are in the UK, you are working in the warehouse, you are working in care, but you really don't want to be in care. You want to get a job as a data analyst, as a data scientist, as a data engineer, a cybersecurity analyst. How do you start and what must you do? So now that we've identified all the roles available, there are 8 of them, 8 different roles that will get you that job in the tech ecosystem the fastest. We can look at so many other roles, so many, like software engineering, which will take you over a year for you to learn. But we're not looking at those roles that will take you so long. Which career path would get you the job the fastest? You have the data analyst role, number 1, the data scientist role, number 2, the data engineer role, the business analyst, the HR analyst, the financial analyst, the Scrum Master role, and finally, the cybersecurity analyst role. So what we've done is to come up with these 8 career paths focused on 3 key criteria. And number 1 criteria is, how fast can I learn this skill? I don't want to learn a skill that will take me back to school for a full year. I don't want to learn a skill where I'll spend 1 year, 2 years learning. I want to learn a skill that will take me 3 to 4 months or 5 months. After learning that skill for 3 to 5 months, I want to also, be confident that the jobs are there, they are available for me to apply to. That's the second criteria. And finally, because these jobs are available, the salary is also fantastic. And these are the three major criteria that we looked at across all these 8 different career paths. The data analyst, the data scientist, the data engineer, the business analyst, the HR analyst, financial analyst, Scrum Master, and finally, the cybersecurity analyst. And the reasons, like I highlighted, why you want to get into this career path: the ease of learning, the ease of transitioning and getting a job, and finally, the high and rewarding salaries. So if you find yourself in any of these career paths, you can be sure that this is something you can learn within the space of 3 to 5 months. You can get a job because the demand is very high for all these jobs. All right. And finally, the salary is also what? The salaries are fantastic across this career path. But again, the most important thing is, how do you even get to start? So let's look at the different career paths one by one and their average salaries across the major economies. I would start with the data analyst role. In the UK, as a data analyst, on the average, you're earning about 40,000 pounds per annum. In Canada, about 64,000 Canadian dollars. And in the US, over 72,000 US dollars on the average. And as a data scientist, you're earning slightly higher than the data analyst. All right. In the UK, you're earning about 55,000 pounds per annum. In Canada, 94,000, almost 6 figures in Canada. And of course, in the US, the data science role is one of the jobs that can get you into the 6-figure role as an average per annum as a data scientist. You have the data engineer, which is one of the most lucrative career paths you can get into today. 65,000 pounds if you're in the UK, 102,000 Canadian dollars, 134,000 US dollars, 6 figures right off the bat. And I'll tell you the reason why the data engineers are so high in demand and why they command these salaries. The data engineers today are software engineers that transitioned to become data engineers. So when we had COVID about 4 years ago, thereabouts, we had a lockdown. A lot of organizations started to migrate their data. They saw the need to have a centralized repository, also decentralized repository where data can flow across to different employees across the globe. So they saw the need to get, professionals with the skills, but you never had data engineers that were trained from scratch to become data engineers. So because of that demand and the requirements for data engineers, software engineers started to transition. They already had Python skills. They had SQL skills. So they just decided to transition and became data engineers. So one of the roles that is difficult to fill today are the data engineering roles, because you don't really have people that were trained from scratch to become data engineers. Just today, you have the role becoming more open. More people are learning the skill and they're transitioning. But as of today, the role is still very, very high in demand. And that's why you'd see amazing salaries like this. As a business analyst, you're also doing amazingly well, about 52,000 pounds per annum in the UK, $85,000 in the US, and about 74,000 Canadian dollars. As a HR analyst in the UK, you are doing about 38,000 pounds. In the US, about 62,000 US dollars. In Canada, about 71,000 Canadian dollars. And as a financial analyst, 51,000 pounds in the UK, almost 70,000 Canadian dollars, and in the US, about 74,000 US dollars. As a Scrum Master, which is another fantastic career path, in the UK, you are doing about 52,000 pounds per annum. In Canada, 74,000 Canadian dollars, and in the US, about 85,000 US dollars. And one of the other very lucrative roles today is the cybersecurity analyst role. In the UK, you are earning about 57,000 pounds per annum. In Canada, about 140,000, 6 figures, amazing salary. And in the US, about 105,000 US So the salaries are amazing. They are fantastic. And the question would be, practically, how do I get into any of these roles? But before we start, and I show you the practical steps you need to take, and also show you practically how people have used that same strategy to land their jobs, I want to know, and I want to hear from you, which of the career path are you interested in? Okay, so I'm going to set up a poll very quickly, and I want you to participate in this poll. All right, so I'm going to share my screen one more time, and I want to hear from you. Okay, so you don't need to type it in the charts. I'm just going to share this, and I want you to tell me, which of the career path are you interested in? So you can go to slido.com, enter this code, so you can participate, or you can simply just scan this QR code and type in. I want to hear from you, and I want to see what you think. So which career path are you interested in? So let's hear from you. Okay, so log into slido.com, enter this code, or simply just scan, and then, okay, somebody has responded, Scrum Master. So let's get more responses coming in. Okay, somebody type. Okay, Scrum, data analytics, data science. So we have Scrum leading at the moment. So let's see more people, and let's see what they are saying. Financial analyst and data science. Data science is coming up a little bit more. You can see that. So let's get more feedback. Cybersecurity, brilliance, cybersecurity, data analytics. Okay, some people are typing in the charts, data science, financial analyst, absolutely phenomenal. All right, so you can see data analytics is right at the middle, and it is a lot larger looking at the word cloud. So more people are interested in data analytics right on this call. So I'm going to show you, all right, I've been a data analyst for the most part of my career, and I'll tell you how you must start and how you must learn to become a data analyst. So you can see data analyst, Scrum Master, cybersecurity, data engineering, absolutely phenomenal. Okay, so I'm just going to wait for another 1 minute, 60 seconds, and then I'll close the poll so we can go back to our slide and continue the session. All right, so we can see business analyst is also coming up. Okay, cybersecurity, data analyst, data science. Some people want to do two, data analytics and data science, which is absolutely fine. Brilliant. All right, so I'm going to stop the poll, and I think we've seen what the picture looks like. Let's go back to the slide. And like I said, practically, I'm going to show you what you need to learn to become a data analyst, a data scientist, and all of those different career paths. But looking at, okay, we've touched this already, looking at the practical steps on what you must do to get your journey started. I'll tell you from experience, the most difficult thing to do is to start. That's the most difficult thing, because we have this imposter syndrome. If I'm good enough, am I good enough? Have I learned enough? Can I apply to jobs? People always have this feeling, okay? So the very first thing you must do is to identify the role you are interested in. Which of the tech roles interest you? You've all sent that in. Some of you said data analytics, some said financial analyst, some even selected two. Okay, so once you've done that, that's the first step. Identify the career path you are interested in. Once you've identified the career path, you go to the second step, which is educating yourself. You must learn the skill. Very, very important. You must learn the skill. So you must start learning. Now, you've all selected different career paths. The next question is, how do you learn the skill? So you must educate yourself, learn the skill, develop your skills in that area, and then you ensure that you join a learning partner. And this is very, very important. And I'll tell you with no filter that one of the wrongest things you can do today, or one of the ways you shoot yourself on the foot, is by trying to self-study. Self-study is the worst way you can get into tech. And why is that so? It's simply because it's a new career path for you. You need somebody to hold your hands. You need to build a very solid foundation and build on that afterwards. Today, I can self-study because I already have the foundation built. I know the fundamentals, I know the rudiments of the tech ecosystem as a data analyst, data scientist, and as a data engineer throughout the course of my career. The worst ways you can start today, and that's why you have a lot of people, they bought so many courses here and there, but they really can't make any headway. You don't want to start into that journey by self-studying. You would struggle and it would take you a very long time. So you must find a learning partner. A learning partner like what Tenalytics does, for example, because we don't just teach you the technical, we also teach you the employability skills, because the technical would not get you the job. You could be the best person in Excel, the best in Python, and that would not get you the job. How do you position yourself? How do you respond to questions during interviews? How do you start the small talk? And these are the things that ensures that recruiter would take a second look at you and get you into that role. So once you identify the role you're interested in and you start learning the skill by finding the right learning partner, the next step is for you to gain practical experience. And this is where a lot of people find it difficult, because guess what? You are currently a banker, or you are in logistics in your current company, or you don't even have a job. Okay, maybe you are doing your master's or something. How do I gain practical experience? All right. How do I learn? How do I go into an interview and tell people that I've done this before for a different company? Okay, and I'll show you here practically what you can do to gain experience. And you must also have internship under your belt, because this is where you build real life world experience. When you get into interviews, nobody cares about your education. Nobody cares about where you studied. Nobody cares about the number of certifications you have. What they care about are the skills and the experience you bring to bear. What have you done before? Are you an achiever? What have you achieved in your previous experience that you'll be bringing to us when you join our company? Those are the competency-based questions you'll be asked during interviews. Nobody would want to know where you studied, how you studied, who you studied with. Nobody cares about that. You'll be given a case study, you go back, work on the case study, and come and do a presentation. How well can you present your findings? How well do you respond to the questions you've been asked? That's what determines if you get the job or not. And this falls under your practical experience. So how do you get this? I'm going to show you practically how you need to go about this. So once you've identified your role, for example, I want to become a data scientist. You've also started to learn to become a data scientist. The third step is you must gain practical, real-world experience. Once you've done this, you must also add something, because this is where a lot of people make mistakes. They learn only the technical. And like I said, the technical is just 50%. Would you hire somebody who scored 50%? Never. You don't want to bring in an average employee into the company. You want to bring in a superstar. For you to become a superstar, you must add employability skills. Let me call it EMP skills, employability skills. This is the other 50%. So once you've gained your practical experience, the next step is for you to do what? Develop employability skills. Build a tailored CV. Know how to tailor your CV to job requirements. Very, very important. Know how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. And these are the things we do for you, optimizing your LinkedIn profile and so on and so forth. And also, how do you approach an interview? If you have an interview next week, how do you prepare? What do you say when you get into the interview? How do you answer questions that are competency-based? Because your competency-based questions carries the highest marks. Questions like, tell me about a time you used Python to build a machine learning model. How did you select your machine learning algorithms? I would like to hear your experience. These are competency-based questions that would want to extract what you've done using Python, not how you learned Python, or if you have a certificate on Python, but how have you used Python to solve a problem? Tell me about the problem. Tell me how you selected the machine learning algorithm. Or as a business analyst, for example, tell me about a time you have managed a difficult stakeholder. These are competency-based questions. If you haven't found yourself in an interview before, or you haven't found yourself on a job where you had to work with a difficult stakeholder, it will be difficult for you to answer that question. All right. I can see some questions in the chat, but I think I'll take questions later so that we don't distract. I want to wrap up my presentation in about 1.5 hours, and then we do a Q&A to wrap up the session. So Techno is asking, I'm one who's new to tech and have just 10% on how to navigate through this thing. No experience at all, but lately I'm having so much interest and anticipation to get at least one tech skill and be able to work from home. That's exactly what we are doing today, okay? So these are the practical steps on how you need to start and how you must start. Identify the skills, number 1. Educate yourself, number 2. Gain practical real-world experience, and of course, develop employability skills. I can't overemphasize the importance of this, all right? Because interview alone is enough to get a job, better than somebody who has expertise and experience with the use of tools. If that person cannot communicate and sell him or herself, they will not get that job. Also, how do you build an Upwork profile? For those of you who want to work remotely, work on projects as a freelancer across the globe. So if you don't have these employability skills, you'd struggle to navigate the waters and get your first jobs. And of course, networking. Networking is where you belong to a community. You attend sessions outside the confines of where you are learning. And I'll give you a typical example. Now, once you join Tenalytics, you join our community of so many people over the last 4 years that have transitioned from one role to the other. Job opportunities come from the community itself. There are so many times, and a typical example was about 2 weeks ago. Somebody reached out in the alumni community that there was a job available. All right, there was a job available in his organization for a data engineering role. People applied to the job, and when interviews came up, the person who posted the job also sent, insights and hints on how to prepare for that interview, because the person already works for the company, and eventually another Tenalytics alumnus got the job. So that's the power of community. Also, you have things like tech meetups and so many networking sessions you also have to join. And this gives you ideas of what you have within the tech ecosystem, the new trends, the new technologies, and so on and so forth. And one of the most important, last but not the least, is mentorship. One of the things I lacked or I missed when transitioning, it took me over 2 years, myself and the co-founder of Tenalytics. And that was simply because we were trying to do it ourselves. We were learning so many things that were irrelevant to our journey. In fact, there are some tools I know how to use today that I have never used before for the last 10 years, but I learned them because I thought anytime I see something on a job vacancy and I don't have that skill, I try to learn the skill. But that's one of the wrongest and the worst ways for you to transition. You can't learn everything. You can't know everything. I realized very late. And it was only after I realized I started to apply to jobs. And I had wasted so much time trying to learn everything. So at the end of the day, having a mentor would have clearly showed me that, look, you don't have to go this route. What exactly do you want to do? You want to become a data analyst. Learn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And once you've learned this skill, you are good to go. Forget about all the other stuff that you see out there. Apply to the job, go for the interview, sell yourself to them. Every job that hires you will take you through a training, an onboarding session for at least the first 1 month. And from there, it will be very clear to you the areas where you might need to brush up a little bit, and you can pick up that skill very fast because you already have the fundamentals, you have the background. Imagine you get a job where you are expected to use, let's say Power BI, but you have the experience of using Tableau. Power BI will take you less than a week to learn because understanding Tableau reduces your learning curve because they are pretty much similar. They do almost the same things. They are just different platforms from different companies. All right. So having that background, having the fundamentals makes things a lot easier for you. So having a mentor would save you so much precious time that you would waste trying to figure things out yourself. And these are the 6 pillars I would recommend to anybody for job success. The 6 of them: identify your target role, educate yourself, learn the skill, ensuring that you join a learning partner, somebody who is willing to teach you and show you the ropes. All right, you gain practical experience, develop employability skills, network, and finally, you must have a mentor for you to transition. And for us at Tenalytics, our mentorship is broken into 2. Every single week, you join a mentorship session on Thursday evenings. The first type of mentorship you have is the expert mentorship. The expert mentorship is where myself, the co-founder, other industry experts would work with you to help you navigate the space. All right, this is the challenge you're currently facing. If you're a data analyst, these are the opportunities available today that you can start to take. Okay, so we have those mentorship sessions. People ask questions, we guide them on what to do. All right, that's the first one. The second one is what we call the body mentorship. Now, the body mentorship is something we introduced this year, 2024, which is where we bring our alumni. We have tons and tons of people that have gone through Tenalytics, they have gotten jobs, and we brought them back to work with you, to also show you what you need to do. I'll show you somebody, later towards, during my presentation today. His name is Muhyiddin. Muhyiddin, in February this year, got a job working remotely from Ibadan in Nigeria, working for a company in the UK, where he helps that company analyze their data from their CRMs to help them identify potential customers and potential clients. He completed his data analytics program with us. We worked with him, prepared him for his interview, and he secured that job. Working from Nigeria, earning in pounds and spending in naira. We brought him back and is currently a body mentor. So for people also trying to get jobs in the UK, Muhyiddin, you did it a few months ago. What exactly did you do? How was your interview? And that's what the body mentorship is all about. You have that opportunity to interact with people that have just achieved the same things that you are trying to achieve. All right. So if you have your mobile phone, take a screenshot of these 6 pillars that would help you make the transition. Now, having looked at this carefully, I'm going to focus a little bit on the practical experience because a lot of you have identified the roles already. You know what you want to learn: data analytics, data science. You know where to educate yourself. Tenalytics is somewhere, it's a platform I can educate myself. The third part is, how do I gain practical experience? Okay, how do I build a portfolio to showcase to employers? And I'll highlight this to you. And this is one of the singular most important things that you'd ever get to realize. If you don't get anything from today's session, remember this: competence over credentials. Pardon my handwriting. Competence over credentials. If you don't remember anything, remember this. Unfortunately, because of the way we have been nurtured over the years, we always chase that paper. We chase that certification. We want to get this. And that's what, has pervaded the entire ecosystem. People chasing paper unnecessarily, useless certifications, rather than doing what? Focusing on competence, which are your skills and experience. If I ask you today, you want to hire 2 people, all right? One of them have 5 certifications. The other person has projects. You can see clearly, you want to hire 2 people that, to fill the role of a Power BI developer. It's a Power BI developer role. The first person has 5 certifications. The other person has a portfolio that shows all the Power BI dashboards they have built. Who would you hire? The person with the certifications, or with the person with the proof that they built dashboards using Power BI? Type it into the chat. I want to hear from you. Who would you hire? The person with the certification, or with the person that has proof that I have built dashboards. These are the dashboards I've built. These are the designs I know how to build. This is the extent of the skill I have, using Power BI. Abdullah says the person with proof. HMD says proof over certification. Absolutely. So whenever I ask this question, everybody tells me proof. And I always ask you, why do you then go ahead to chase certifications, in my own opinion, that are very useless? All right, very useless, especially in the major economies. What these employers are looking for, especially today that remote jobs are everywhere. Today, I can be in the UK. I'm currently in Canada. Half of Tenalytics employees are working in Nigeria, working in Ghana. Some of them are in the UK. You want people with the competence to do the things you've hired them to do. And the only way somebody like a Muhyiddin, who got a job in the UK, living in Ibadan, was because he had the proof to show that I have done this before and this is what I can do. Give me another data set and I will create the same thing again for you. All right. So how do you show that experience? One of the ways you do this, which I said we're going to be very practical, is through portfolios. Okay. So I've kept 2 links for you here. One of them from Victoria, the other one from Lemuel. Victoria is a data analyst. She joined Tenalytics, completed a data analytics program with us. And this was the portfolio she built. I'll show you what it looks like. And then we have Lemuel. Lemuel is a business analyst. She joined our business analysis program, and she's completed the program. All right. So looking at what they've done, any recruiter that sees this link on their CV, all they'll simply do is what? Click on the link and have a very good view of the depth of the skills of Victoria and Lemuel, even before they get to meet with them. And this is what you must do and what you must have. So for anybody who joins Tenalytics, you must have a portfolio. All the projects you're going to work on during your classes, during your capstone projects, and during your internship. So if I click on the link, let's first go to Victoria. Let's see what Victoria has built in her portfolio. So you'd see her name, Victoria Uchemadu, data analysis portfolio, and you see some of our recent projects. What this does is you have this on your CV, and this is where your CV review sessions becomes very important with us. Once you've completed your CV review sessions, you know everything, the structure of how your CV should be. Now, your portfolio link would also be on your CV. You have your LinkedIn link, the link to your LinkedIn profile, and the link to your portfolio as well. Looking at one of the projects she's worked on. So this is a project for the hospital emergency room. And she did an analysis using Tableau. And she's hosted her project here. Now, if you click on this link, it takes you into the project she's built using Tableau. And we are all going to have a look at it. I'm going to post it into the chat as well. Let me post the link to the I want to post the link so that you guys can also have access to it if you want to have a look. Let me share. Okay, so let me go back and click here. All right, so this is Victoria's portfolio. This shows what Victoria has built. Now, if I ever want to hire somebody that knows how to use Tableau. This is a report for the emergency room hospital analysis that Victoria built. And I can interact with these reports. You have 9,216 emergency room patients, the average age of patients in this hospital, the average wait time. The essence of this analysis is to find out who are the people visiting, what's the major departments they are visiting, and how can we reduce the wait times from 35 minutes to lesser. And this is the analysis that Victoria has worked on, and I can interact with it easily from here. Okay, so let's take, for example, I only want to see for Q1. I don't want to see for Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. I can deselect everything and select only Q1. And if I select only Q1, the report is going to, respond. It is interactive. And there is nobody who would look at this and not know that whoever built this knows how to use Tableau. This is your proof of work, your proof of experience. When you hear show your workings, you need to have proof. You need to have evidence, so you don't explain and keep on explaining of how good you are. People need to see how good you are. All right. So when you see gain practical experience, how do you do that? During the training, you're going to work on projects. It's a project-based learning environment. Once you start learning, you start working on projects. Those projects must be made public, just like this. Now, if we go back to Victoria's portfolio, you'd see another analysis she did on the airline, the aviation industry using Excel. You'd see another one she did for Express Tech food delivery using Tableau. You'd see the Nestle product analytics using Power BI, the Zenith electronics analysis using SQL. So I can interact with any of these projects easily, and I get to see what she's done and what she has built. Okay, and these are the projects she worked on while she was learning. And this is what shows your proof of experience. Your proof of experience and your proof of what? Your depth of skills in that particular area. So you can see, I can interact with this. I can select and the report would change. I can deselect something, the report would change. And this shows that the report is live and interactive. So this is very, very important for anybody who wants to transition. You must have this. Okay, and if we go to Lemuel, we can also click on Lemuel's profile. It takes us to the project Lemuel has worked on as a business analyst. Again, remember, you must always show proof that you've done this before. Okay, so one of the projects you work on during the business analysis is to help Unilever optimize their canteen ordering system. Optimize their canteen ordering system. And if you click on this particular report, it takes you to what Lemuel built. So let's see what the report looks like. So you'd see what she's built. The Unilever canteen ordering system by Team SDLC, a Tenalytics capstone project. So you can read what the project is all about, the background, the problem statements, the objectives of the ordering system, the business case. All right, you can see the templates, what the business case was before the project even started. Okay, you can see the stakeholders, how the stakeholders were ranked based on the power and their interest. You have the RACI matrix, the SWOT analysis, and so many other things that she had to do and build during this project itself. So this shows anybody looking at it that, look, I'm not dealing with somebody who is new. I'm dealing with somebody who has experience. Now, to finally bring this home, I want to also highlight something very, very important, which is how do you show that you have actually worked with an organization deploying your skills? You say you are good in Tableau, all right? I've seen the dashboard you've built for somebody like Victoria, but then have you worked with any company before on any project? And I'll show you on LinkedIn. We're going to go on LinkedIn, very practical. Like I said earlier, and show you the things you have to do. So I'll show you somebody who recently got a job. Okay. His name is Oluwadamilare. Okay, so I'll go to Oluwadamilare Eweje. Oluwadamilare was a Tenalytics. He is a Tenalytics alumni or alumnus. He was a student of Tenalytics. And one of the first things you'd see when you go to Damilare's profile is you both worked at Tenalytics. All right. So for all our Tenalytics participants, you are not a trainee or you are not a learner. You are a contractor or you are a consultant. Because guess what? The same skills you deploy on the job are the same skills you deploy during your internship with us. So when you've shown people on your portfolio what you have built over the years and over time, you need to also show them that you have worked with a reputable organization in building this. You have worked on projects with Tenalytics. So if you go to Damilare's profile, you'd see that Damilare worked as a data analyst with Tenalytics on a contract basis. And this was part of the things he did was to conduct data cleaning, processing using Excel, Power Query, and SQL. He also performed ETL on clients' data sources. He created visualizations in response to business challenges and so on and so forth. And Damilare, just last month in April, secured a job as a sustainability data analyst with the company BAM in the UK, and you can see that clearly. We worked with Damilare, we prepared him for his interview, and Damilare got this job last month in the UK. And we'll get to listen to Damilare and hear what he has to say. Damilare's video is somewhere on my slide. I'll play the video. Everybody will get to listen to him. So you'd see how he was able to secure the job. So you can see him here. This is where he was announcing when he got the job as a sustainability data analyst. And you can see he's also saying, I want to express my gratitude to the entire sustainability team at BAM for the warm welcome. And also everyone who has supported me on this journey, from my mentors to amazing colleagues at Tenalytics. Okay, and this is Damilare here, starting his role as a sustainability data analyst. But he didn't just get this job. There were things he had to do. Your technical skills are a given. You must know the technical skills. The next step is, how do you build your employability skills? Having the right CV, knowing how to tailor your CV to jobs, knowing how to structure your responsibilities as achievements, and so on and so forth. Okay, so those are the things you have to do. And that's how we also separate you from the competition. The singular reason why Tenalytics has been so successful is simply because of how we prepare you and help you and separate you from the competition. All right. So all the things I've highlighted, and these are your additional employability skills I mentioned earlier. Anybody can have the technical skill. Anybody can learn the technical skill anywhere, but you can't learn the employability skill anywhere. So one of the first things we do with you is your CV. You have a CV review session where we show you how to tailor your CV to job applications. And for your CV, you would leverage different AI platforms. Number one, you're going to leverage ChatGPT. ChatGPT will be your friend when it comes to your CV review. Number two, you're also going to leverage JobScan. This would also be JobScan, SCAN, for those of you taking notes of the tools I'm sharing. The final one you'd also leverage in your CV review session is called Jobalytics. Okay, so we'll show you how to use these tools to always tailor your CV to job applications. So you're not applying to 100 jobs with one CV. You're applying to 100 jobs with 100 CVs, because you know that tailoring your CV is very important, because when this CV goes through the ATS, your CV must come out at the other end as successful because you have matched the keywords in that job requirement. Wherever they said that they need Microsoft Power BI, you have Microsoft Power BI on your CV. Wherever they've said that they need somebody who has experience working on big data, you have that on your CV, that you have experience working and analyzing big data. So you do that job tailoring so that it is easy for your CV to get at the other end and get called for an interview. Now, once you have a good CV, the next step is your LinkedIn. I just showed you Oluwadamilare's LinkedIn profile, and I did that, deliberately so that you would see that it is all a chain of several activities that will get you the job, not just you learning and knowing how to use Excel or Python or Power BI. It is a chain of other set of employability skills. So your LinkedIn must always match your CV. All right. So how do you build a LinkedIn profile that attracts recruiters? How do you build a LinkedIn profile that would pop up your name whenever they search for a data analyst role or a Scrum Master role, depending on the program you've decided to join? Of course, you must also have an Upwork profile, which would help you work on remote jobs and also get to work as a freelancer in your respective career path. How to navigate the job markets. And this is where every week we'd also show you during the mentorship session, if you're in the UK, you're in Canada, you're in the US, where should you apply to jobs? Where are the opportunities? What should you take note of? And so on and so forth. You also have the job and interview prep. This is one of the most important things you can get from us at Tenalytics. And when I play Damilare's video for you, I want you to pay very close attention to what he says. The interview prep was one of the best things he could have ever gotten from us. Not even the training, but the prep for the interview. Because now you have an interview, they've seen something that they like in you. How do you convince them that you're the right person for that job? That's the most difficult thing to do, but at the same time, the easiest thing to do as well, if you know what to say. When you're asked questions that are competency-based, your competency-based questions carries the highest mark. How do you answer? You answer using the STAR technique. The STAR technique, S for situation, T for task, A for action, and R for results. How do you structure your response to them in a way that it is constructive and you answer their question, showing them how you've used that tool to solve a problem? What was the situation? What was the task that was required? What action did you take using that Python or that Excel or that Power BI, as the case might be, or Jira, and so on and so forth? And what was the results? Did it lead to increase in revenue by 20%? Did it reduce the time it took to deliver your reports by 80%? What was the result? How do you structure your answers in a way that it follows a constructive approach? How do you introduce yourself? A lot of people also make mistakes when they ask them, tell me about you, can we get to know you? Okay, let's get to meet you. This is a question that whether you like it or not, it would come up one way or the other during an interview. How do you respond to it? And this is where you use another approach called the SEAT approach, SEAT. You start by introducing your skills, you move over to your experience, you go to your achievements, and then you talk to them about who you are as your type of person or your traits. Okay, and this is how you answer questions. You don't just go into an interview hoping that you get things right. You must follow a structured approach. And who is the best to prepare you for that interview other than people who have done the same things in the past? Recently, there was somebody who had an interview last week with the NHS. And for us at Tenalytics, we have about 52 of our alumni working with the NHS in the UK. as data analysts, data scientists, benefits analysts, and so on and so forth. So all we needed to do was simple. We have a lot of alumni already in the NHS. We simply just got one of them and the person who had an interview, and then we had a Tenalytics expert work with that person to prepare him for his interview. His interview was absolutely fantastic, and we are simply just waiting for the results in the coming weeks. And that's how interview preparation is done, and you have to prepare for that level of interview, and that's how Tenalytics prepares you as well. Then you have your references and recommendation. When you get the offer, these organizations want to know, where have you worked before? Who can vouch for you? Give us 3 references. You can guarantee or rest assured that Tenalytics will be one of those references you can bring forward. The next level is the weekly mentorship. I talked about this already. And then you have on-the-job support. So even after you are done, it doesn't mean that you are out of Tenalytics. You remain as part of the Tenalytics alumni community. Whenever you get a job and you need support, you need help, you have questions, we are always there to provide that for you. We work with you on the job to ensure that you get that particular thing that you're finding difficult done, also ensuring that we don't breach any data privacy in your organization. And finally, the final level, which is level 3, is a promise to you, which is a guaranteed job interview 1 month after you complete your training with us. Guaranteed job interview 1 month after you complete your training with us. So you see level 1, 2, and 3. These are the things we've put in place that has made us so successful, and the reason why people come to us to work with them, prepare them to move from their non-tech background into the tech-related roles. Now, looking at the structure of the class itself, because people are asking the question, okay? And we are inching closely into where I can take all the questions you have. Our session, like I said, is for 2 hours. We started at 1 o'clock my time. It is 2:12 my time now. So we're wrapping up at around 3 p.m. my time, 2 hours, okay? So we're looking at rounding off in the next 48 minutes. So I'm going to wrap up and then have 30 minutes for us to take questions, all right? So we have about 48 minutes to wrap up our session today. Now, looking at the structure and how do you learn, because the way you learn is also very important. So the business analysis program, for example, your classes are on Saturdays and Sundays. Let's start with business analysis. So for those interested in joining business analysis, the duration is for 4 months. So you learn for 2 months in the class in a project-based environment. For 2 months, you are learning the concepts. You are learning the fundamentals of business analysis. You first of all start with learning Excel, Power BI, and SQL. Then you move into your process mapping, stakeholder engagement, stakeholder analysis, requirement fundamentals. I'm going to break all of that down. You learn all those fundamentals, and then for another 2 months, you work on a web application project. And this is where you build your real world experience. So a company which had their HR department having very manual systems and processes. So when people want to go on leave, they write emails to request for leave. If they want to take days off from work, they write emails, and things are very manual. So as a business analyst, you come into that organization and you look at their HR processes and you'd recommend to build a web application to automate the process for them. So you'd automate that process, you'd work with a software developer, you'd work with a Scrum Master, and you'd work with other stakeholders to complete the web application project. You would be the business analyst on this project. We will simulate different types of stakeholders, the good stakeholders, the difficult stakeholders, so that when you have questions during interviews, tell me about a time you've completed a process mapping project. You can talk about this that you've done. You have very good examples to give, and this is how you build your experience. Like I said, your classes are Saturdays and Sundays. On Saturdays, depending on where you are, if you're in Nigeria, you are in the UK, similar time zone around Europe, class starts 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturdays. Now, if you're in Canada, you are in the US, similar time zones, your classes would be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So it's more or less saying that if you're in Nigeria, your class would be in the morning, and there is another class in the evening for those in the US and in Canada with similar time zones. On Sundays, you also have classes for different regions. 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. if you're in Nigeria, you're in the UK, 12 noon to 3 p.m. if you're in Canada or you're in the US. So you have a class, it doesn't matter where you are, there's a class that fits your time zone. Okay, now for the data analytics program, it's also for 4 months. 3 months, you'll be learning in class. Learn in class for 3 months, learn all the concept, learn all the tools, and then you have an internship for 1 month. And this internship is where you get to work on 4 different projects, real life projects that you would add to your portfolio at the end of the day. All right, your classes are on Saturdays, your live classes. On Sundays, you don't have a live class. On Sundays, you have something we call the self-paced watch me do it session. So if you are a Tenalytics participant, you are in a current program, today that is a Sunday, you don't have a live class. You have bite-sized videos you get to watch, you learn the concepts ahead of the next live class on Saturday. So on Saturday is when you have your instructor who would work with you, you work on projects together, solve problems together, and so on. And just like the business analysis, you have classes for different regions. If you're in Nigeria, if you're in the UK, similar time zones, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you're in Canada, you are in the US, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. All right, financial analytics is pretty much the same in terms of the structure, just as the data analytics class would run. 3 months in class, 1 month internship. Your live classes are also on Saturdays, and then your self-paced watch me do it session happens on Sundays. So at your own convenience on Sunday, you can watch your videos, prepare and see all the things, practice what you see in the videos. And on Saturday, you join a live class where you work on a project and a case study together with your facilitator. Same with the HR analytics as well, the same structure. Live classes on Saturdays. On Sundays, you have a self-paced class. It doesn't matter where you are, you have a class that fits your time zone. If you are in the US, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. If you're in the UK, Nigeria, Europe, similar time zone, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So there's a class that fits your time zone. If you're in Nigeria, you want to start the class later in the evening for those in the US or Canada, you can do that. Depending on if that's when you have time, that's fine. It doesn't matter where you are. You can choose and pick where you want to be, the class you'd want to join. Same with the full stack data science program that prepares you to become a data scientist. Also for 4 months, 3 months in class, 1 month internship. Similar structure, just like the data analytics. Your live classes, you have a professional work with you, you work on projects together, you have the opportunity to pause your trainer, ask questions. If you have a problem, you can share your screen, they look at your problem, get the problem resolved, you continue, and that's the way the class runs on Saturdays. On Sundays, it's self-paced. You watch your videos at your own pace, all right? And then you come to class the following Saturday to work on projects. The Scrum Master program is slightly different. This is for 2 months, 1 month in class, and then 1 month internship. The internship the Scrum Master would work on is exactly the same internship with the business analysts. So the Scrum Masters and the business analysts would work on similar projects, the same web application projects. The business analyst would play the role of the business analyst, managing the stakeholders, gathering the requirements, ensuring that the project meets the requirements set out at the beginning of the project, and so on. While the Scrum Master would focus on doing what? Applying the Scrum principles, the Agile methodology, and ensuring that all the user stories are implemented on this particular project. Classes are on Saturdays and Sundays for the Scrum Master program, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday and 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. on Sundays. Data engineering is for 5 months, is the longest program we have. And that's simply because data engineering has a little bit more when it comes to the internship. The internship for the data engineering is 2 months. So you learn in class for 3 months, and then you intern for 2 months. So at the end of the day, you have a 5-month learning program where you learn how to become a data engineer, building data pipelines and managing the data infrastructure in an organization. All right. Your classes would happen on Saturdays and Sundays. Sundays is your self-paced class. You don't have to join a class on Sunday. You watch your videos at your own convenience. And on Saturdays is when you have your live class. The timing on Saturdays from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. West African time. If you're in the UK, you are in Nigeria, you are in Ghana, similar time zone. And if you're in the US, you are in Canada, that will be 8 to 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So depending on where you are, just take the time zone, type it into your browser, and you'd see the time that it gives you. But the timing is flexible in a way that it's either you join the class that starts early or you join the class that starts late. Give or take, you have a class that fits your time zone. Finally, you have the cybersecurity program for 4 months. You learn in class for 3 months, and then you intern for 1 month. Your classes are also Saturdays and Sundays. Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and on Sundays, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. So this is what the structure of the class looks like every weekend. And the next cohort starts on the 8th of June, 2024. We had a cohort that started yesterday on the 4th of May. And for those of you joining us for the second time, you would have seen us talking about the cohorts starting on the 4th of May, but we have another cohort starting on the 8th of June. And one other question people would ask, and it always seems impossible until you have seen other people do it, is, and no classes from Mondays to Fridays. Somebody is asking, no classes from Mondays to Friday. All right, your classes, your live classes, technical classes are Saturdays or Sundays. Some have just Saturdays, while some would have both Saturdays and Sundays, okay, which I've just, reeled out to you in the last couple of minutes. Again, your weekdays, you have on Thursdays, you have your mentorship sessions, which is where we help you hold your hands, answer questions, and help you navigate the ecosystem itself. The next cohort starts on the 8th of June, 2024. And it always seems impossible until you see people who have done the things you are trying to do. All right. And I'll highlight a couple of people to you. And like I said, we're also going to listen to Damilare. Damilare is somebody who recently just got a job, and I showed you his LinkedIn profile. Okay, so you're going to hear from him yourself. This is Muhyiddin. I talked about Muhyiddin earlier. Muhyiddin currently works with BBX in the UK. Just 2 months after he completed his training with us. Muhyiddin joined us in August 2023, completed his training and internship in December 2023. And by February this year, Muhyiddin had landed his job with BBX in the UK. We worked with him, prepared him for his interview. And what we've done is to also bring Muhyiddin back to mentor other people who are trying to get jobs remotely in the UK, because he lives in Ibadan, works for the company in the UK, earns in pounds and spends in Naira. You also have Olua Damilare. I shared Damilare's LinkedIn. I used his LinkedIn profile as a case study. He recently got a job as a sustainability data analyst, also in the UK. We prepared him for his interviews, ensured that we also wrote a reference for him when the company reached out for a reference. And we're going to listen to Damilare and get to hear his own story on how he was able to transition and the role Tenalytics played in helping him transition. You have Benga. Benga was unemployed for 2 years in Poland, couldn't get a job. He joined us, we worked with him, prepared him for his interviews. He had multiple series of interviews. Eventually, Benga got 4 offers. And all what he had to do was just to pick and choose. Which job should I take? Which should I drop? And he went with the most lucrative one that gave him remote work opportunities and, of course, fantastic salaries as well. Today, Benga works as a business data analyst. All these people completed our data analytics program. And you have Olua Damilare that we're going to listen to shortly. Damilare sending me an email when he got the job. He started in April. He sent me this email in March, where he said, I'm super excited to inform you and the entire Tenalytics employability team that I successfully landed the role as a sustainability data analyst. I want to thank you for your support throughout the phase. God bless you real good. Okay, today you saw Damilare has started his job as a sustainability data analyst. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to quickly play Damilare's video for you very quickly, and then I'll come back, we'll wrap up our session. So what do you need to get started in terms of how much do you need to join the program and so on and so forth for all the programs that we have to offer. Just Damilare's video just for 3 minutes. So I'll play that very quickly and then we'll come back to wrap up the session. Okay. So let's listen to Damilare. I'll click on this link and it takes me into where I'll be able to listen to him. So sit back, relax, and let's hear what Damilare has to say. Pay very close attention so you also get to learn 1 or 2 things from Damilare.
Hi everyone, my name is Damilare Ewuje. Today I want to quickly share my testimony of how I was able to transition into tech, all with the help of Tenalytics. So it happened over a year ago when I saw a post on Twitter, now X, that talks about how to learn a new tech skill. I followed the post and landed on a page where I got to discover Tenalytics for the very first time. There I saw a list of skills that you could learn, but the one that resonated with me the most was data analysis. So I registered for the masterclass, I attended, and I was blown away by what was taught at the masterclass. And it didn't take me too long to make my decision of registering for the data analysis course with Tenalytics, and the rest, like they say, is history. So for me, it's been an amazing journey learning with Tenalytics because I've been able to learn the intricacies of data analysis, all with the help of Tenalytics, putting together seasoned instructors that will take you from zero or whatever level you are to becoming a master at any tech skill that you decide to learn with them. Also, with Tenalytics, I've been able to learn how to use tools like Microsoft Excel, BI tools like Power BI, Tableau, and even SQL to analyze data in a more robust way and also give actionable insights and recommendations into my findings after my analysis. And beyond the learning, Tenalytics have put together awesome mentorship sessions that has helped me personally to position myself out there for jobs, and also helped me to optimize my LinkedIn page and profile where recruiters now reach out to me for jobs as well. So another thing is Tenalytics have been super helpful when it comes to interview preparation. They've been able to prepare me for several interviews just to put me in the best place when it comes to interviewing for jobs out there. So Tenalytics have been super helpful, and this is something that I don't think is common out there, where you see people teach you these tech skills and still stick with you until you're able to land a very good job. And right now, I can confidently tell you that I am a certified data analyst, and I've been able to land a very good job with awesome benefits, all thanks to Tenalytics. So I believe now is the best moment for me to say a huge thank you to Tenalytics for helping me achieve my dreams of transitioning into tech, because If not for Tenalytics, I don't know where I would have been. So I want to say a very, very big thank you to Tenalytics for helping me achieve my dreams. To wrap up, if you're looking into learning any tech skill, don't look too far. Tenalytics is the best place to be. Why? Because you've heard my testimony, and there are several other testimonies out there as well. So if you're looking into learning any tech skill, just register with Tenalytics today. Come one, come all, refer your friends, refer your family members who are looking into transitioning into tech as well, because what Tenalytics offer is super, super great than what you can see out there. So I recommend Tenalytics to you and your family members today. Just go ahead and take massive action, register with Tenalytics, and you won't regret doing that. You won't be disappointed at all, guys. So that's it from me today. I want to wish you all the best, and I hope to see you all at the top, because that's where I'm going to be myself. So bye for now, guys, and cheers.
All right. So that's Damilare. We all saw Damilare's profile, right? I showed you Damilare's profile on LinkedIn the other time. For those of you that remember Damilare. And Damilare is a fantastic, fantastic gentleman. Recently got a job as a sustainability data analyst. And I mentioned all the things he had to take into consideration, all right? Including his work experience, ensuring that he got prepared for his interviews. We worked with him to ensure that he secured that job, and even wrote a reference for him eventually. You have Abigail. Abigail worked as a care worker. She was a care worker in Canada, and she joined our business analysis program because she knew that she didn't want to be in care for a very long time, all right? She was concerned about getting a job where there was growth and career progression. So she joined our business analysis program. And 2 months after completing the business analysis program, Abigail got a job as a business analyst with the government of Alberta, working with the Ministry of Municipal Affairs in Edmonton, Canada. All right, she moved from where she used to live down to Edmonton. If I'm correct, I think she was in Saskatchewan at that time, but moved from Saskatchewan to Edmonton. And this is Abigail's story, from a care worker into a business analyst. And there's so many other people. You have Mojishola. Mojishola joined the business analysis program as well. Got a job in November last year, just a month after she was done. And this is Mojishola sending me a message when she got the job. Hi, Adaiza. I finally got the job offer. I want to say a big thank you for everything. I sincerely appreciate your help, and so on and so forth. You also have Olamide, who got a job as a business data analyst. I told Olamide's story during my Instagram live session I think that was on Friday, if I'm correct. On Friday, I had an Instagram live session and I talked about Olamide's story. So if you want to listen to Olamide's story, go watch that Instagram live session. But Olamide's story is also very interesting because Olamide was experienced as a business analyst, but he couldn't get interviews after he was out of work for almost 6 months. He came to us and we tweaked his CV just a little, and also added Excel, Power BI, and SQL to his skills. And by doing that, his job title changed. The interviews he was struggling to get, he was able to get them and he got the job as a business data analyst this time around. Not a business analyst role, but a business data analyst, because we advised him to join our business analysis program where he added Excel, Power BI, and SQL, structured query language. And that made the difference for him. He got the job, and today he's currently working as a business data analyst in the UK with a company called U Energy. You have Temi. Temi was a lawyer, transitioned to become a business analyst. You have Ramat. Ramat used to work as a customer service representative with British Gas, and today she works with the NHS as a business analyst after completing our business analysis program. The NHS gave her full visa sponsorship. I mentioned earlier that we have over 52 alumni working in the NHS. Ramat is one of them. You have Chika, completed our financial analytics currently works as a financial analyst with a company in the UK. Solomon currently works in the oil and gas sector in Nigeria as a financial analyst. You have Akintayo, who joined us as an accountant and got a job as a CFO after completing our financial analytics program. You have somebody like Sonia, who completed a master's. After her master's, wanted to get a job. She joined our HR analytics program. We worked with her, and today she works with British American Tobacco in the UK. You also have Maureen. Maureen works as a HR data analyst with TELUS in Canada. TELUS is one of the largest telecommunications company in Canada. She works as a HR data analyst. You have Victor. Victor also worked as a people operations analyst, working remotely from Nigeria, working for a company in the US after completing our HR analytics program. And there's so many. I don't want to bore you with all the testimonials, but they are so amazing. Shade works as a data scientist in the UK. Abdul Rashid works for a company in the US. Abdul Rashid lives in Abuja, Nigeria, works remotely as a data scientist in the US. You also have Idris. Idris worked with Jaguar Land Rover, currently works with QuantSpark in the UK as a senior analytics engineer. What I've done is to keep the link to interact with all the amazing testimonial. And the lady you can see on the screen, I would love you to listen to her story. Her name is Ikmat. Ikmat, fantastic lady, also one of our alumni that currently works with the NHS. She works as a data analyst, full visa sponsorship with the NHS in the UK. All right. So I've left the link for you guys, and I'll be taking you to what it takes for you to be a part of the cohort that will commence on the 8th of June. And we have an amazing discount for you, depending on the program you'd like to join. All right. Now, for those of you who would like to join the data analytics, the business analysis, HR analytics, and all the other programs apart from Scrum, you have a 20% discount right off the bat. And what do you have to pay? If you're joining any of the programs apart from the Scrum Master program, rather than paying $750, which is the full amount, you get an amazing 20% discount, and you only get to pay $600. And for those paying in pounds, instead of paying £625, you get to pay just 500. Instead of paying 730 euros, you get to pay just 580. Instead of 1,125 Canadian, you get to pay just 900 Canadian dollars. And instead of paying 900,000, you get to pay just 720,000 Naira. And that's the amazing discount we have. For the first 30 people to take advantage, it is an early bird discount for those who'd be interested in taking advantage to get their journey started in tech. The beauty to also make it easier for those who would like to join is the fees have been broken into 2 installments. So you can make your payments in 2 installments. You have flexible payments. You first of all pay the deposits for you to get your journey started. So for you to be in class, to start your class, work with us, you have to pay the first installment of $400, and then the second installment, which comes in a month after the program commences. So the program commences on the 8th of June. A month after, you get to pay the second installment of $200. And if you're paying in pounds, you pay $350. You start your class, and then a month after, you get to pay the balance of $150, and so on and so forth. If you are paying in Naira, you get to pay 500,000 to get into the class, to get registered, to get your classes started. And then a month after, you get to pay 220,000 Naira. Now, for the Scrum Master program, the fees are slightly different from the other programs, right? And the Scrum Master program is also not broken into 2 installments. Okay, you have a one-time full payment of $360, which is the discount. Instead of paying $450, instead of paying £375, you get to pay just £300. Instead of paying 440 euros, you get to pay just 350. Instead of paying 540,000, you get to pay 430. And if you are paying in Canadian dollars, you also get to pay just 540 Canadian dollars to get your classes started. So I'm going to take questions from you before we wrap up today, because I know there are so many questions. I've seen some of the questions in the chats. I'm going to take those questions. All right. Now, for those who would want to make payments, we're going to share the slides at the end of today's session. Okay, so you have access to the slides, you have access to the recordings. But then again, remember, the discounts is available for the first 30 people to register for each program. Once we have the first 30 registered, the discounts would be off the table. All right. How do you make payments? I'm going to share that with you shortly. I have a QR code on my slide. I'll share that with you for the first 30 who are interested in getting started. But I'll walk you through the payments platform. Okay. Now, if you want to make payments, all you have to do is click on this link you see. Okay. Or you scan the QR code you have on the screen. Okay. So this takes you to where you get to make payment to be a part of the first 30 people to register. Okay, but how do you get to make payments? I'm going to walk you through that, because somebody was asking about, can I further break my payments into more installments and so on and so forth? And I'll show you how to get that done shortly. Okay. Now, let me show you, and I'll come back to my slides. And again, like I said, we'll take questions for the next 15 minutes or thereabouts before we call it a day. So once you click on this link, it takes you to the enrollment center. All right. And this is where you'd see all the different programs you'd like to join. Okay. So you can pay using different options of a direct transfer, paying to the pound account if you're paying in pounds. There's a dollar account if you're paying in dollars, Canadian account, euro, and of course you have the Nigeria Naira accounts. Okay, now you want to make payments using your credit card or debit card. You can also go ahead and do that using any of these links. So let's take, for example, I want to join the data analytics. All I need to do is click on this link for data analytics, and it takes me into the page where I can go ahead and make payments. So it brings me here. Now, the amazing stuff is the installments for data analytics, depending on where you are, you're going to see the currency. If you're in Nigeria, you'd see the Naira. If you're in somewhere in Europe, you'd see the euros, and so on and so forth. Okay, mine is showing in British pounds. Now, how much is data analytics? Data analytics in pounds, the discounted amount is £500, right? And I can make payments in 2 installments of $350 and $150. The program would start on the 8th of June. So let's assume I don't have the $350 today to pay and start. I can secure my discounted slots. I want to be a part of the first 30. I don't want the discounts to pass me by. Now, we've given several levels of discounts in the previous month, but the discount has been reducing. For example, in April, we had a slightly better discount, but then again, the discounts we have here is 20%. And this is the best time to start, because the discount, once we have 30 people, the discount is off the table. I don't have £350, but I still want to be a part of the program. All you need to do, there's a minimum amount you can pay to secure the discount for those that want to secure the discount. And you'd see that right at the bottom. Okay, minimum amount you can pay is £200. So I can pay £200 today. I go in here and I type in 200. I reserve my seats, click on reserve seats, enter my full name, Adeza Suleiman, and my email. Adeza at Analytics. You can enter your phone number, enter all the details, and then you click on pay with card. Okay, and then pay with card, you enter your card information, your card details, and the moment you click on confirm payments, you will get an automated receipt into the email you have provided. So I have secured my slots, and I know that come rain, come sunshine, I'm a part of the discount. Now, the balance of 150 to complete the first installment, because I'm paying 200 and the first installment is 350. So I have 150 balance to pay, and I can pay that in the next 2 weeks as long as I make the payments a week before the program starts. So I make the balance payment of 150 pounds, and that completes my 350 for me to start. And I balance the rest a month after I have commenced. And that's how you get to make payments using your credit or debit card. So when you do this, everything is automated. You get an automatic receipt, automated receipts to your email. You have a link for you to also register. Now, if you have made payments using the transfer, the direct transfer option, say you paid in pounds, you transferred from your Lloyds bank account, you transferred from your Revolut account, as the case might be, or you paid doing a direct transfer to a Naira account. All you need to do, take a screenshot of your payment, and then you come back here after taking a screenshot and click on what? Upload your receipts. Okay, just click on that, upload your receipts. So this would ask, sorry, just asking me to verify this. Let me change. So it takes you to a form, and then you need to fill this form. All right. So you're going to enter your email, click on next. Okay. The type of payment you've made, if it's full payment, initial payment, you select that, you click on next. You qualify for the 20%, enter your first name, enter your last name. So I'm showing you something by filling this form. I want to show you, for those of you who are confused on the program to register for, should I join data analytics? Should I join data science? I'll show you what you need to do, okay, while filling the form. So fill all the details. Gender is what? Male. Select that, click on next. Okay, terms and conditions, you read that, click on next. When did you make payments? I made payments today, the 5th of May, all right? Upload your screenshots. You've taken a screenshot, remember, of the payment you've made, okay? Upload it here. So I'll quickly just upload something just for the benefits of, for the purpose of doing this, for this class. So let me upload this, all right? So you upload that. What mode of payment did you make? I paid on the website. Click on next. All right. What's the account name? Because brothers, fathers, sisters can pay for their, can pay for somebody. So enter the name on the account that made the payment, and then click on next. Which program are you registering for? So this is where, if you are not sure, am I registering for cybersecurity? Am I paying for the financial analytics? We're not sure of the program to register for. The best thing you can do, secure the discounts, make your initial payments, the minimum amount, secure the discounts, and then come here and select, I need to speak with a professional. The moment you select, I need to speak with a professional, what happens is we'll schedule you for a one-on-one session where we then work with you and help you select, or what programs do you have in mind? Some of you said data analytics, some of you said financial, and we then help you, guide you to make a decision. But you would have taken advantage of the discount already. So you're one of the first 30, your discount is secured, and you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so I just needed to show you this, and then I'll come back and let's take questions very quickly. I can see we have quite a number of questions in the chat. So let's take questions. Please, is it possible to learn any of the courses without a laptop? It is impossible, okay? Your laptop is your number one tool. It's like a farmer going to the farm. You need your work tools. That is your number one resource. You need your laptop. Okay, very, very important. And people would ask, oh, what type of laptop? Do I need a high-end laptop and so on? No, all you need is just an entry-level laptop. Okay, nothing too advanced, entry-level. A Core i5, if it's a Core i3, it's fine. It's 8 gigabytes RAM. If it's a 4 gigabytes RAM, it's also fine. Just something entry-level is okay, all right? Nothing too advanced. Let me see. Is there age limits? Again, this is one of the major misconceptions that a lot of people have. I am new. Do I need to have any prerequisites? Do I need to learn something? You don't need to learn anything to be a part of the program, all right? Now, we're going to hold series of sessions in the coming weeks, okay, depending on the program you've registered for. So you'd have the opportunity to also go through master classes that we would have, practical master classes over the coming weeks, and see, as a data analyst, what do you do? As a data scientist, how do you use Python? I would have multiple sessions on that as well. All right. So there is no age limit. There is no limitation. There is no anybody, asking you for your age is literally discriminating against you. And that doesn't happen. All right. Except you're somewhere trying to get a job around Africa. We are a little bit particular about that in Africa compared to the major economies. We are trying to get a job in the UK, in Canada, in the US, or across Europe, which should be your focus. What you've learned is a global tech skill, and you want to apply that skill in several regions where you get paid substantial amounts for the skills that you have. All right. So let me check for more questions. If you also want to speak, I'd love you to raise your hand and we can get to interact and I'll answer your question. Charles is saying, I have 10 years in banking, but now working in a consultancy firm. I have an MBA in finance from Coventry. Which of the programs would you advise? So again, Charles, let me try to answer Charles' question, but this is what our clarity session is all about, okay? So you secure the discounts, number one. You also take advantage, make your initial payments, join the clarity session, and these are the type of questions. When filling the form, you select, I need to speak with a professional, and these are the type of questions that we address. Now, Charles, the first thing we always start with, because we would not tell you to do this and don't do that. The most important thing is, if you look at the grid I shared with you, number one is what? Identify the role you are interested in. Now, based on your experience in banking, you also have an MBA. Two of the programs I can recommend, or let me say 3 of the programs I can recommend to you is the data analyst, the data science, and the business analyst role. These are the 3 roles I think you can consider. So data analytics, data science, and business analysis. Those are the career path I can recommend for you to consider. But then you'd need to engage and I would need to ask you more questions and you can make a decision on the specific career path to follow. Okay, what are the tools to be taught in financial analytics? Now, one of the other things you can do, which we've provided to you, is when you click on the link to pay, it takes you to the enrollment center. You have the link to access all the program brochures. Okay, so if you click on this link, let me open it here in this other browser. If you click on the link to the brochure, it takes you to the program brochure. So let's say you want to join financial analytics, like the gentleman had asked. It takes you to the financial analytics brochure, and you can walk through every single thing each program entails. Okay, so you start with problem solving, you move on to Excel, you move to Power BI, SQL, you learn ChatGPT for analytics, and then you move into financial modeling and scenario analysis. Okay, so these are the programs that you will be a part of during the financial analytics program. You'd see who your facilitators are, the best of the best in the industry. You're going to work with Nene, who is one of your facilitators. Nene has worked with, she currently works with Zelos. Zelos is a Nike licensee in the UK. She's also worked with Deloitte. I beg your pardon, she's worked with KPMG while she was in Nigeria. She's worked with Bank of America and so many other fantastic organizations, and she'll be one of your facilitators. You also have Teniola, who currently works with one of the big fours in the UK, should be one of your facilitators as well. You have James Jenas, who is an assistant manager at Coca-Cola, who will be one of your facilitators as well. You have Oladapo. Oladapo is a senior consultant working with Deloitte in Bermuda, who would be one of your facilitators in the financial analytics program. Okay, so you have access to all the brochures. You have access to all the brochures. All you have to do is just click on this link to get access to all the program brochures. Now, I'm also going to share in my slide. When you get my slide, I have all the breakdowns of the program and what they entail. But if we are to talk about all the programs and what they entail today, we'll spend the next 1 hour here. Okay, so all the programs from business analysis to financial analytics, you have everything here. All right, so I'm just going to leave it on this page for the person who asked the question. All right, would 3 months be enough to acquire the necessary skills to survive globally? 3 months is more than enough, Daniel, to learn the skill, and another 1 month for your internship is more than enough. You would learn all the skills you need in exactly 3 months. The 1 month is like an add-on for you to add your internship. And this is not coming from somebody who is guessing on what is obtainable. This is somebody who has helped over 2,000 people to do the same thing you are trying to do. All right. So the question you need to ask yourself, and the reason why questions like that come up, because we get it all the time, is simply because we are used to learning for 4 years. I learned industrial chemistry for 5 years. I have never used any of my skills as an industrial chemist for 1 second to earn a living. So I've wasted 5 years of my life. That's the way I look at it. So when you start to look at things that way, the job that has given me everything I've ever wanted in life is data analytics. And how did I learn it? I learned it the same way I'm also going to prepare you to learn the same skills. All right. So the thing is the 80-20 principle, the Pareto principle. 20% of your skills would get you 80% of whatever revenue you ever imagine you could get. All right. And that career you're going to study in the university for years and years, you end up using it to do nothing. All right. So is the time enough? Is more than enough. More than enough. And we have a proven strategy on how to get there and how to get you there as well. In the Freke saying, I just joined. So in the Freke, I'm going to put that slide again one more time. All right. But the recording is going to be made available to everybody. So you'd have access to that. I'm just checking for more questions. I have an O-level. Am I qualified for the program? Absolutely. It transcends education. You don't need to have specific education requirements. However, organizations, especially around Africa, would have a minimum requirement with education, and even organizations abroad as well. Okay, so you look out for those organizations that would have not listed that you have a minimum requirement with regards to education. Okay, but preferably I always advise if you have sort of a higher education under your belt, even if it is not a BSc, you have a HND or an ND, that usually would suffice compared to O-level. Assuming I start and can't continue, can I pause the program? You can defer your program once, Stella. So let's assume you start in June, on the 8th of June. You have 2 weeks, you have a 2-week window to defer. So you start in June and something comes up, more commitments, and you don't have time to continue your classes. You can defer to start in July. But once you've deferred once, you can't defer another time again. All right. So if you defer once, the best we can do is all the materials that you need. Your classes are recorded. You have access to the class recording, the data, the case studies, everything will be made available in your classroom, and you have lifetime access to the classroom. So yes, you can defer, but you can't pause in perpetuity. No, you can't do that. Can I get a remote job abroad from Nigeria without having work authorization? Absolutely. I just showed you. I think if you were here, Ifeanyi, you would have seen, I talked about Muhyiddin. Okay, you don't need any work authorization to work remotely. Muhyiddin never needed anything like that. There are some organizations that would request or require that you have a work visa or work authorization, especially in the US, if you're trying to get a job. But you don't bother yourself looking for those jobs. You look for the jobs that would hire you as a contractor, as a consultant, and that's what they refer to you as. Okay, you might not be a contractor working with them directly, but they'll categorize you under that, and you get to work from them across the globe anywhere you are, earn fantastic salaries, and you don't need any work authorization for doing that. So what I mean by in perpetuity is you can't stop your program and say, okay, I'm stopping now. I want to continue next year. All right. You can stop in June, defer to July. If you start in July, you can defer to August. You can defer only 1 month into the future. You can't leave it. It's not open-ended. That's what I mean by in perpetuity, if that makes sense to you. Is the next cohort's date starting? It's starting on the 8th of June, Yvette. Starting on the 8th of June. I think I shared that earlier. Okay, the next cohort starts on the 8th of June. So the brochure initially carried the 1st, like you said, but the cohort starts on the 8th of June. Okay, as we start to wrap up, I want to share something with you. Stanley is saying, must I start with data analytics? Nope, you don't have to. All the programs are mutually exclusive. All the programs are mutually exclusive. You can start as a data analyst, work as a data analyst, get a job as a data analyst. You can learn data science, get a job as a data science. You can learn data engineering, get a job as a data engineer. They are all mutually exclusive. You don't have to start one before you move into the other one. Okay, Charity is asking, for someone that just completed a data science or data analytics degree and have projects, is there an opportunity for mentorship to get a job without enrolling? The answer is no, not at the moment, Charity, and I'll tell you the reason why. Now, if you've studied, where did you study, first of all, Charity, your data science or your data analytics? As far as I'm aware, all the master's program, I have done one myself. I completed a master's, I started a master's in 2022, back in Bradford in the UK, all right? It was a waste of money, it was a waste of time. And I've seen the same trend across other universities, all right? And in that university, I could literally teach my lecturer. So what you find is you have a lot of academic representation of what a data analyst should do. So rather than working on projects that helps you solve problems, you work on research papers, you do coursework, and you don't learn the skills to solve problems in the real world. So that's the difference between an MSc in data analytics and data science that I've seen across board, okay? In the UK most especially. So if you've learned in the UK, Charity, I can almost guarantee that you haven't gotten that skill. Olukemi is an alumni of the University of Bradford. When did you graduate, Olukemi? I left the University of Bradford not too long ago. So send that into the chats. Let me know so we can connect later. Please, can you display the data analytics to do templates and that of business analysis? I'll share that with you. Okay, so while I start to wrap up very quickly, can we substitute Power BI training for Tableau? Yes, you can. You can. As a data analyst, you will learn Power BI and Tableau. Okay, as a financial analyst, you don't need Tableau. That's the reality. You don't. What you need is Power BI to do your financial forecast, to do your financial analysis and the rest. You don't need Tableau for that. Okay, but as a data analyst, you will learn Tableau. Okay, so as a data analyst, you're going to start with problem solving. You're going to learn Excel. You're going to learn structured query language, SQL, Power BI, Tableau, data storytelling, ChatGPT for analytics, and Microsoft Fabric. Okay, and as a data scientist, you're going to learn statistics, forecasting, and predictive analytics using Excel, Tableau, SQL, Python, exploratory data analysis, and machine learning using Python, of course, computer vision, GitHub, version control, ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot, and Microsoft Fabric. All right. As a financial analyst, you don't learn Tableau because you don't need it. So why learn what you don't need? But if you want to switch, we can make that arrangement for you. It's not an issue at all. We don't have classes during the week. What we have during the week piece is something we call a drop-in session. So a drop-in session happens every Wednesdays, where if you have missed a class on Saturday, for example, on a Wednesday evening, you join the drop-in session, more or less like a catch-up session, where you have your facilitator, your trainer, walk you through what happened, but not in a elaborate class like what happened the previous weekend. So for people who have issues, maybe you've tried to do something in class, you have an assignment, you tried it, but you can't get it. On Wednesdays during the drop-in session, all those questions are addressed. Okay. As a teacher, you have two options, Cassandra: data analytics, data science. That would be my advice. And we've had so many people make that transition. Let me show you one of them. I can't remember her surname now, but I remember her first name. Her name is Taiwo. Let me see if she pops up. Taiwo, yep. Yetunde Taiwo, that's her. So Yetunde is a teacher. She transitioned from teaching to data analytics. You can see you both worked at Tenalytics. You can see, data analyst with Tenalytics. She currently works in the UK as a teacher, but she also transitioned to data analytics by joining our program. So two career paths I always recommend for people in education: data analytics, data science. Very fantastic question. Chiamaka is saying, can you share some of the challenges you have with your students in the past that resulted in them not getting a job? This is the best question I think I've gotten today. If you don't want to get a job, and this is something I've seen, and I think I need to mention it, and thanks Chiamaka for bringing it up, and I think we're going to end our session after answering this question. You lose out on all the jobs you don't apply to. If you don't apply to job, you lose out 100%. However, the jobs you apply to, there is a 50% chance that you get called for an interview. What I've seen and what has slowed a lot of people down is applying to jobs. The job application process in itself is a job on its own, because like all the things I reeled out to you, you must work on your CV, tailor the CV to that job. You must ensure that all the things that needs to be on your CV to get you a very high job match, you have that done. So once you do that, you apply. The more jobs you apply to, the more chances you stand to get called for an interview. People that don't get jobs, they have a very low job application rates. And how do I know? We track it for every single cohort. Let me show you, for example. Let me go to the cohort that started in April, data analytics, April. Let's go to this class and I'll show you the classroom very quickly. Okay, so you'd see your important materials. You see your job sites where you can apply to jobs. We provide that to you. You'd see the CV templates for a data analyst. What should your CV template look like? What is the best CV template? We provide that for you. You want to book an interview, you have the links. Click on, you have 2 professionals that will work with you. All you need to do is click on any of the links. You have Jennifer, you have Mohammed, you schedule your session, they meet with you, prepare you for your interviews. And then you have the job application tracker. So this job application tracker, just like the question you asked, Chiamaka, one of the major factors that determines if you get a job lies in this job application tracker. So at the back end, we can see the number of jobs people are applying to. And at the front end, you can see you record the number of jobs you apply to. Okay. For those that get interviews, they put in volumes of job applications. And I always recommend in a week, you don't want to do anything less than 100 jobs in a week. Averagely, every day, you do nothing less than 20 jobs per day. 20 on Monday, 20 on Tuesday, 20 on Wednesday. From Monday to Friday, you have 100 jobs you've applied to. Using that method, you will get interviews back to back. We will prepare you for your interviews and you will secure a job. For those that struggle are the people that are lazy to apply to jobs. Okay, so thank you, Chiamaka, for bringing up that question. That's a determinant, a major determinant in you eventually getting a job. Okay, we're going to close the curtains here today. And before I do that, please ensure you go to our YouTube, follow us on YouTube, okay? When you go to YouTube, just search for Tenalytics, all right? Search for Tenalytics. It's going to bring up Tenalytics. Go to the Tenalytics YouTube page, click on this link, okay? And of course, ensure that you subscribe, okay? The video for today's session would be uploaded on YouTube. So you have the access to the video, the recording, and also listen to all these amazing professionals. All right. You can see Damilare and all the other amazing professionals. Listen to them on how they were also able to transition to get their journey started in different career paths that they have joined. And you also have access to so many other contents that we've created for you for free. You have a live coding session with Python. So those of you that want to learn how to use Python for free, you can watch this masterclass that happened last month. Okay, myself and the co-founder, we talked about everything you need to know about contract jobs, full-time tech jobs in the UK, Canada, and in the US. You can watch all these videos free. And these are the type of content you get from us when you become a part of our community. And you can also get that for free by just subscribing to our YouTube channel. All right. Once more, before I wrap up our session today, for those of you who also want to understand the different career path, all you have to do when you come to the videos, just search for the different career path as a data analyst, business analyst, and you can watch any of the videos right here, okay? And it gives you clarity into the career path that you'd like to join. So you can see that here, it says, All Tenalytics Program Explained. I'm going to embed this in my slide before I send it out to you, okay? Send the message to a friend, send to a colleague, send to somebody you know can benefit, who has always wanted to transition, but they've always been slow to get started. Push them to get that journey started and join us at Tenalytics. Remember, the discount is for the first 30 people. Take advantage. Don't sit on the sidelines. We've had people who joined in January, February, March, April, where we had more amazing discounts, but they never joined. And now that the fees are a little bit, because the discount has gone up a little bit more, they start to run helter-skelter to be a part of the program. So take advantage. You have a unique opportunity to get your journey started. Follow us across all platforms on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Also, check us out on our website, tenalytics.io. And I look forward to seeing you guys get your journey started. And for those of you that would select, I need to speak with a professional, I'll meet with you on Tuesday to walk you through how to select the right career path and would help you make that decision. Enjoy the rest of whatever is left of your Sunday and have a wonderful week ahead of you. Thanks for being a part of your Sunday today, and cheers, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the week. Cheers, guys.